Imagine a library where the books are not organized by genre, author, or any logical system. Instead, they are thrown together in a haphazard way, with ancient wisdom interspersed with personal laments and praises. Welcome to the world of the Psalms, an anthology that defies easy categorization. The Psalms are a collection of 150 poems, hymns, and prayers that have been the soundtrack of Jewish and Christian worship for millennia. They are a microcosm of the entire Old Testament, reflecting its diversity, complexity, and theological richness. But what makes the Psalms so compelling is also what makes them so challenging. They are a jumble of voices, perspectives, and emotions that can be both deeply moving and bewildering. The quest to find an underlying meaning in the Psalter as a whole has not been very successful. While individual psalms often have clear themes and messages, the book as a whole lacks a coherent narrative or structure. Some scholars have tried to impose order on the Psalms, suggesting that they were deliberately arranged to tell a larger story. However, these attempts often fall short, and most readers feel that the Psalms are more like a random collection of texts than a carefully crafted whole. Despite this, the Psalms have been a source of comfort, inspiration, and challenge for generations. They speak to the human experience in all its complexity, from the depths of despair to the heights of joy. The Psalms are a mirror to the soul, reflecting the full range of human emotions and the various ways people have sought to relate to God. Whether you are a believer, a scholar, or simply a curious reader, the Psalms offer something for everyone. The Psalms are divided into 5 books, each with its own characteristics and thematic emphases. The first book, Psalms 1 to 41, is often seen as a collection of Davidic psalms, many of which are attributed to King David himself. This book sets the tone for the entire Psalter, with a focus on individual lament and praise. The second book, Psalms 42 to 72, contains a mix of communal and individual psalms, including the famous Maskil psalms, which are reflective and instructional in nature. The third book, Psalms 73 to 89, is characterized by its strong emphasis on wisdom and theodicy, grappling with questions of justice and suffering. The fourth book, Psalms 90 to 106, is a collection of hymns and historical psalms, celebrating God's acts in history and the creation. The fifth and final book, Psalms 107 to 150, is a crescendo of praise, culminating in the final psalm, which is a call to all creation to join in worship. The Psalter begins with 2 psalms that seem to serve as a prologue to the entire collection. Psalm 1 is a wisdom psalm that contrasts the righteous and the wicked, setting the stage for the themes of justice and morality that will recur throughout the Psalms. Psalm 2, on the other hand, is a royal psalm that speaks of the anointed king and the nations that oppose him. These 2 psalms together provide a framework for understanding the rest of the Psalter, with the righteous individual and the anointed king as central figures. The Psalms deal with a wide range of religious issues, from creation and divine kingship to individual and communal suffering. One of the most prominent themes is the relationship between God and Israel. Many psalms reflect on the special bond between God and his chosen people, recalling the covenants made through Abraham and Moses. For example, Psalm 74 pleads with God to remember the covenant and to deliver Israel from its enemies. The psalmist equates Israel's enemies with the forces of chaos and evil that God overcame in the creation, emphasizing the idea that Israel's struggles are part of a larger cosmic battle. Another major theme is the relationship between God and the individual. While the primary relationship in the Hebrew Bible is between God and the nation of Israel, the Psalms often focus on the personal experience of the individual. Personal laments and thanksgivings are common, and they reflect a deep sense that God is interested in and concerned for the individual. For example, Psalm 55 describes a person in distress, feeling abandoned and threatened by enemies. The psalmist cries out to God for help, expressing a sense of intimacy and trust in God's care. The Psalms contain several passages that reflect on the creation, often in ways that differ from the account in Genesis. Psalm 104, for instance, describes God's provision for all creatures and the beauty of the natural world. This psalm emphasizes God's ongoing care and sustenance, rather than a one-time act of creation. However, there is also a tradition in the Psalms that traces the origins of the world back to a divine battle. In this view, the physical world was created from the defeated enemy, a concept that is more in line with ancient Near Eastern creation myths. For example, Psalm 89 speaks of God's victory over the dragon Rahab, and Psalm 74 mentions the breaking of the heads of Leviathan. These passages suggest a more dynamic and conflict-filled creation narrative, where God's kingship is established through conquest. The Psalms also grapple with the age-old question of why the righteous suffer and the wicked prosper. This theme is particularly prominent in the Wisdom Psalms, which reflect on the nature of justice and theodicy. Psalm 37, for example, advises the reader not to fret over the success of the wicked, as their prosperity is short-lived. The psalmist asserts that the righteous will ultimately be rewarded, even if it seems that the wicked are thriving in the present. Similarly, Psalm 73 begins with a sense of frustration and doubt, but it concludes with a realization that the wicked will eventually fall, and the righteous will be upheld by God. However, not all Psalms take such an optimistic view. Psalm 49, for instance, reflects on the ultimate fate of both the righteous and the wicked, concluding that all humans will eventually die and face the same fate. This psalm emphasizes the transient nature of earthly success and the need for wisdom and humility in the face of mortality. One of the most intriguing aspects of the Psalms is the way they blur the lines between the individual and the collective. While many Psalms are written in the first person, it is often unclear whether the I refers to an individual or to the nation of Israel. For example, Psalm 51 is a penitential psalm that is traditionally attributed to David after his sin with Bathsheba. However, the psalm could also be read as a communal confession of sin, with the I representing the collective voice of the people. This ambiguity reflects the deep connection between the individual and the community in the Hebrew world. Where personal and communal identity are intertwined. The Psalms are not a monolithic text. They reflect a wide range of theological perspectives and ideas. Some Psalms emphasize the sovereignty and kingship of God, while others focus on the suffering and lament of the individual. Some reflect a confident belief in God's justice, while others express doubt and frustration. This diversity is one of the strengths of the Psalms, as it allows readers to find a psalm that resonates with their own experiences and emotions. The Psalms are not a single, coherent message, but a rich tapestry of human and divine interaction. For modern readers, the Psalms can be both a source of comfort and a challenge. The Psalms that express vindictive sentiments, such as the imprecatory Psalms, can be particularly difficult to reconcile with contemporary ethical and theological perspectives. These Psalms call for God to punish the wicked and to avenge the wrongs done to the righteous. While such sentiments may have been appropriate in the context of ancient Israel, they can be troubling for modern readers who value forgiveness and non-violence. However, the Psalms also offer a way to engage with difficult emotions and questions. They provide a vocabulary for expressing anger, fear, and despair. And they offer a model for turning to God in times of trouble. The Psalms remind us that God is not distant or indifferent to human suffering, but is present and attentive to the cries of the heart. The Psalms are a complex and multifaceted collection of texts that defy easy categorization. They are a testament to the human struggle to understand and relate to the divine, and they offer a rich tapestry of emotions and perspectives. Whether you find comfort in their words, challenge in their questions, or simply a mirror to your own soul, the Psalms remain a powerful and enduring part of the religious tradition. In the end, the Psalms are not just a book. They are a conversation between God and humanity, a dialogue that continues to this day.